We want to give a shout out to Steven with We Rock the Spectrum. We Rock the Spectrum is an inclusive sensory-based gym committed to providing a fun, safe, and welcoming environment for children of all ages and abilities. So if you're in town or in the Franklin area, please go check them out. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This episode, we have on Carl and Isaiah from Black Abbey and the Dad Rock Block. We talk about running a small business, craft beer, and anxiety. We hope you have fun. Here we are, another episode of the Nashville Dads. We're in Nashville Restaurant Radio Studio, as always.
Thank you.
With Isaiah and Carl. Do you guys, should I say you're from the Dad Rock Block or from Black Abbey Brewing Company?
I mean, both are
Or
true
both.
statements.
Yeah, I think you would be accurate with both.
Okay, cool. Well, I already said it. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today.
For context, I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Carl.
Yes. You guys had me on the Dad Rock Block how many months ago?
Couple months ago. September, was it?
Yeah, a while.
I think so. So I thought it'd be interesting to have you guys on our show instead. So thank you for being
Man, we
here.
never get invited to anybody else's house.
You don't?
No.
No, we really don't.
I wonder why.
I thought we were charming.
Well, I
We'll
think
find out.
most of the guests that we have on the program, and for those of you who are listening to this, we do Isaiah likes to call it an inconvenient podcast. We have a show
true,
on,
though.
no, it totally is. We have a show on internet radio on acmeradiolive.com called the Dad Rock Block. And the reason that it's on internet radio and not available through normal podcast channels is because we play music. And of course you can't.
Without any kind of licensing.
But you can do that on internet radio. And
Oh,
it's
can
fine.
you?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So,
And also through Mixcloud. You know, if you want to get into bed with that very niche podcasting app.
yes, it's very.
It's also inconvenient. You can't rewind
You
episodes.
can't. You have so many like skip forwards and stuff.
You can only listen to an episode 3 times or some nonsense like that. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a small price to pay for.
Yes,
For
but
your fame.
most of the time, the people that we have who come on as guests are either in the beer industry, alcoholic beverage industry somewhere, or are in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people have podcasts that they could invite us on.
Yeah.
Or other sort of programming.
Well, speaking of the Acme, how did you guys get involved with that?
Well, we sell them beer, so it started
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
And then this is Carl's story.
Carl, please do tell.
Yeah.
It involves a lot of brown water, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They used to do this. They used to do this show called Cocktails, where they would invite on other alcoholic beverage purveyors to talk about whatever it was they were doing, and it was mostly a mixed drink focused.
Yeah,
program.
they would spend an episode talking about a particular spirit or category of spirits.
Yes,
Okay.
and so somehow I got invited to come on.
It's because we partnered with Jameson.
I think the first time was before that.
Oh, is
'cause
that
it was
so?
just me and Guy Fell.
Oh, okay.
Because the host was sick, and so it ended up just being me and Guy. And so
Guy's our
the
engineer. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, "All right, if it's just the two of us and we're just talking in here, like, do you want to play music?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Can I bring my own records?" And he's like, "Yeah." So anyway, so we did this show, and then somehow we got invited back when the host was there because we had this partnership with Jameson. And so we came in and did this show, and as was our like with the Jameson partnership, consumed way too much Jameson over the scope of a 2-hour period of time.
I was safely at home.
Yeah. And at the end, the program director for Acme Radio is this cat named Carl Gaddy, like Mr. Gaddy's Pizza.
Nice.
And so at the end of the show, I said to Gaddy, I was like, "Dude, what's a guy got to do to get his own program on your station?" And he's like, "I don't know. Come up with a pitch. Like, what's your pitch? What would you do?" And I said, "I don't know. I'd come in here and play dad rock records and drink beers." He said, "Write it up and we'll make it happen." So I wrote him a pitch, and he said, "Yeah." And he said, "What do you want to call it?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Let's call it Dad Rock Block because you're playing these songs in 3-song blocks."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, all right. And that was it. And we're on.
Also, a little bit of a nod to Elston Place,
Oh, the Rock Block?
the Rock Block.
Oh,
Yep.
that's gone now, isn't it?
Well,
Is it still there?
I mean, in theory,
In theory.
you know, Bruce is still selling $3 PBRs at the end. You know, we can hang on to that.
For now.
I mean, he's deaf as a post. I mean, who knows? Who knows how long that's going to last?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it we just taped our 94th episode.
That's awesome.
Wow, congrats,
Yeah.
man.
I was like, who allowed this to happen?
We're the longest running lifestyle program on Acme Radio.
Do you guys do it every Monday or every other Monday?
In theory, it's every other week.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be twice a month.
Cool.
But yeah, it's kind of lately here. It's been sort of whenever. I
But
think.
you fellows are dads. You understand how schedules can't
Yeah.
be
Oh,
quite.
man.
And you guys record in the afternoon. You record like 2 to 4.
Technically during working hours,
Yeah.
which is may or may not be good for us in a,
As
on,
business
a, on a
runners.
professional side.
How many kids do you have? We haven't done that yet because we have to prove that you're dads. I know you do a dad rock block, but
Is this a paternity test?
it is
Yes.
actually. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Mari is actually behind this door.
Yeah, so I have to
And,
give a sample.
And if you don't pass, you leave.
Yeah, sorry. It's a very rigorous thing. Isaiah,
to go back to our children.
Isaiah, how many kids do you have?
I've got my one and done. I've got a 4-year-old daughter named Seattle, and there is no doubt in anyone's mind that she is my kid because she is full of piss and vinegar. She is, man. Like during every single parent-teacher conference that I have at her school, I ask her teachers, "Has she cussed in front of you yet?" And they're like, "What? No." I'm like, "Well, she might." And when that happens, I want you to know 2 things. Number 1, it is my fault. And number 2, I'm only kind of sorry. Because I'm going to teach this kid to not edit her words just to make you comfortable, okay, Sammy?
Sammy.
Miss Sammy? Yeah.
No.
Man.
So Isaiah's daughter goes to the preschool where my 3 kids went
Okay.
and where I worked for a honestly not short period of time.
Okay.
How long did you work there?
It was almost 2 years, dude.
That's long enough. When it comes to childcare,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you like a preschool teacher?
I was.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I've done many.
So you're a
things.
saint.
I hold it's Glen Levin Presbyterian Church Day School is the name of that place. It used
oldest
to just
oldest daycare in the city.
oldest daycare in the
Is it
city.
really?
Yeah.
It used to just be called Glen Levin Day School, and then Dr. Mark changed the name because he didn't feel like the Presbyterian Church part of it was getting enough pub.
Oh, okay.
That's true. But anyway, yeah, I had
Has no one heard of the Presbyterian Church, Dr. Mark?
this guy.
This is Coca-Cola
We could do
spending
a whole
billions of dollars
show.
on advertisements.
I could do a whole show talking about Dr. Mark.
When you come on for your next episode, it'll be the Dr. Mark episode.
This is where the gotcha journalism
Yeah,
starts.
that's right. Yeah.
I got us a call back. Anyway, I have 3 children. Maggie is 17, is a senior in high school. Will is a freshman in high school, 15, and then Betsy is probably going to jail.
As we speak.
Yeah, maybe. She's 13.
If you get a phone call, we know it's the police or her
Exactly,
calling
yes.
from prison.
I mean, I remember vividly telling Maggie when Betsy was, a toddler,
Yeah.
this is how this is going to go. She's going to end up in jail, and she's going to call you. You must call me. I will bail her out. You don't have to tell her. I just need to know that you're taking care of it. We have had that conversation.
I met Betsy when she was like 3. And I remember thinking to myself, that kid is going to commit a felony.
Why? What does she do?
She's mischievous.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's full of
Is she
chaos.
like
She-
sneaky mischievous or
Yes.
blatant mischievous?
She lies with impunity.
oh, with the softest little voice,
Oh,
too.
that's terrible.
And she is like, she's Eddie Haskell. She's so cute. You know who that is, yeah.
From Leave It to Beaver?
Oh, come on, guys.
Well, we're the oldest guys in the room,
Yep.
I guess, yeah.
All right. For those of you who are listening and have no idea who Eddie Haskell is, please go watch the syndicated black and white television program Leave It to Beaver, because Wally, who is the Beaver's older brother,
Yeah.
had a friend named Eddie Haskell. Eddie Haskell's relationship with Ward and June Cleaver was always like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Cleaver.
He was always flirting with June.
Yes. Your apron is delightful today. Like,
You're
did you have
vacuuming
it
in
pressed?
heels and pearls? My God.
And then they would go outside and Eddie would say something like, hey, let's set fire to the church.
Let's go rob a bank.
Anyway, Betsy she is absolutely Eddie
Yeah.
Haskell. She's cute and she's bright-eyed and she's very smart and almost always up to no good.
Sounds like a fun person.
She's gonna be the life of the party.
Yeah.
I worry. So we've been going on these college visits with Maggie, and by the time it comes around for Betsy to go to school to go to college, she'll have gone through this twice. I'm worried that she's going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go to Sewanee. Sewanee is often thought of as the like biggest party school in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's going to she's just going to pick some.
Well, there's nothing else to do in Sewanee.
There isn't.
You got shenanigans. You got the blue chair.
It's like
you got a
outside
Subway,
Chattanooga.
and that's
Yeah.
man.
There's a Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, there's a new place called Lunch out there, which I was like, you guys couldn't put any more thought into this?
What do they do?
Yeah. They serve dinner.
Yeah, it's a breakfast joint.
Yeah, they close at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
They're going after those Waffle House
Right.
dollars.
Yeah. When they were building the sign, they ran out of A's and had to use a U.
It's like, here we go.
You know, I don't know. Say
That's awesome. And Carl, you started Black Abbey, right?
that's true.
Sweet. How long have you been doing that for? How long has that place been around for?
September will be our 10-year anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we signed the lease in January of 2013, and we've never been anywhere else. We've always been over there on Sidco, and so yeah, we started as homebrewers. We're the like classic second wave brewer. I think the first wave. I think about Anchor Steam and Sierra Nevada and Boston Beer.
Yeah,
and
Goose Island. And
like those guys.
yeah.
And then the second
Class
wave,
of 87.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And the second wave was at least it was much more regional, right? Now you're starting to talk about, if we're looking at the Nashville market, we're talking about Yazoo and Jackalope and Fat Bottom and Blackstone.
Yeah.
And us. And so all of those folks started as homebrewers for the most part. And I was actually, we were talking about Hillsborough Village just around the corner here. We used to meet at Bosco's.
Oh, yeah.
I was in a homebrew club called the Music City Brewers. And there were people in that club. Like the very first meeting I went to, I sat next to Linus Hall, who started Yazoo. I paid my dues to Ken Redman, who started Zahn's Brewing here in town. I talked to Steve Scoville, who was one of the founders of Little Harpeth Brewing, and Karen Lassiter, who went on to be a brewer at Bosco's and then was the brewer at Corsair when they had a brewery in there. So we were like the Music City Mafia of beer.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
The homebrew movement really started this sort of focus on craft beer and the advancement of craft beer, because in the 70s when Charlie Papazian wrote the New Complete Guide to Homebrewing, you couldn't really get good homebrew stuff, right? It was any sort of documentation about how to make beer was so like square and scientific that like people just wouldn't do it. And Papazian really kicked the door down and opened up people's eyes to, like, his motto was relax, don't worry, have a homebrew. And that really said, oh, well, maybe this isn't terribly scary.
Yeah, maybe it's not so scary.
Maybe I'm not going to make something that's going to make people sick. And so, and people drank it and got really sick. No, I'm kidding.
No, they did not. No, they did
After
not.
like 3 or 4 lawsuits,
Yes.
you got a new lawyer.
I mean, if you've got too much phenol alcohol, you get a little headache.
Yeah. But so we started in 2013. We were part of that. Well, I moved to Nashville in 99, joined that homebrew club early 2000s. My wife got her master's at Vanderbilt, so we lived on campus. And so I used to like walk right over the Bosco's all the time. And that's how I met those guys. And then somewhere in 2008 or 9, we sent a barrel-aged Belgian strong ale to the world's largest homebrew competition. It was called the National Homebrew Competition. That year it was in Los Angeles, California. And I remember we had a party in my garage to listen on the internet somehow in 2009 to listen to see who won medals. And we won a medal for that beer, and we're like, all right, well, if we actually are winning medals with this, maybe we ought to start thinking about writing a business plan. So we started writing a business plan in 2009.
Took forever because you guys were drinking when you did it, right?
Well, yeah, we all had real jobs, real quote unquote real jobs, and so it took a long time, and then we signed the lease in January of 13, started construction in March, taproom opened September 21st.
Yeah.
Isaiah was the first person who worked there.
Hey.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, I'm employee number 1, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked there before there was a there, actually.
Yeah.
He was there like helping Like
I was on a
seal the
scissor
floor.
lift. I was on the
Yeah.
scissor lift gluing the glycol piping together, thinking this is it. This is how I die.
Yeah. Didn't you, Isaiah, did you work like an admin job before you started working with
Yeah,
Carl?
the job that I had before I was full time at Black Abbey, I was working a soul crushing
Yeah.
corporate IT job.
Yeah.
Like this place that was so awful. I knew within 2 weeks I never want to set foot in this building ever again. But I stayed for 3 years
Yeah.
because that's how I paid for my wife to have her wisdom teeth removed.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
that Midwesterner low level self hatred was like, well, I know I'm miserable, but like I got to be responsible.
This is what you do with your life.
Yeah, it's like being miserable builds character.
Aw.
But I was like so desperate to get out of there because like 40 pounds and some hair loss later, and Chelsea's like, that's my wife Chelsea. She's like, you can't work here, you're dying. I was like, well, I don't know what else to do. And she's like, well, you know people in the beer business. Why don't you like call some people up and see if they can introduce you to somebody? She's like, at that point she had graduated from college. She had a pretty good job, and so I didn't have to be like the main provider anymore. And so I did. I called this dude named Kurt who owns a distributor in town. It's funny enough. So there's like a grocery store across the street, and I used to be the vendor receiver at that grocery store.
Oh, really?
I was the guy checking off all the trucks. And so I met every beer distributor in town because of that.
Wasn't that a Harris Teeter?
Oh, it sure was.
Yeah.
God bless you, Harris Teeter.
Back in
Somewhere,
the good old days.
Somewhere-
Back in the Harris Teeter days.
somewhere in North Carolina, they're enjoying your services. But I called this dude and I was like, hey, I want to get into the beer biz, but I don't know who to talk to. Can I talk to you first? So I had a meeting with him, and he was like, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know, man.
Just
I mean,
something.
I've been home brewing for years, but I don't think I have that thing, that thing in my brain where I can take that and like really make something of it. I feel like I'm a home brewer in the way that a guy who knows how to make a grilled cheese sandwich is a chef. I can't do that. I was like, I think that my main gift is convincing people to try stuff.
That's pretty true.
Yeah, I think so too. And he was like, and this is verbatim, I love this part of Black Abbey lore.
It's totally true.
Kurt says, you're just weird enough of a guy to get along with this dude named Carl. He's going to be opening a brewery, and I'm going to introduce the two of you. And I said, neat. So he does. He introduces us by email, and Carl and I were like, okay, here are our numbers, and we scheduled to meet up. Now, I didn't realize that this was a job interview. I just thought I was networking. And we met up at a bar in East Nashville called Village Pub. It was happy hour, and I was, relatively poor. So I was like, hey, it's like $3 beers, man. Let's go here. And and we hung out for like 15 minutes, talking about beer here and there. And then we got into a protracted discussion on the pros and cons of all three lead singers of Iron Maiden. And like, I'm wearing jeans that are heavily abused. I mean, like a Joey Ramone level of just distressed denim. And I had a T-shirt that I wrote the word Fugazi across in like a Sharpie, and like I think I still have my lay down mohawk. Maybe like I never put it up. I wasn't trying to look like a member of the Exploited. I just like had it laying down, but I would like pomp it, to make it look sort of nice. And that was my quote unquote rebellion at the office. So I had like I did not look cool. I don't know, man, but. Then Carl's like, well, I'm having a great time. Like, I'm having a great time too, but I have a theology paper due in 2 hours and I haven't started it. And Carl said, okay, I'm going to censor it because I don't want you guys to have to use the explicit.
No, it's fine.
You're
Go
fine.
for it.
I don't care.
Carl looks at me and goes, are you fucking with me? And I went, I'm in seminary and I have an Old Testament theology paper due in 2 hours and I haven't started it, so I have to leave. And Carl goes, I don't have a brewery yet, but one day I'm going to call you and I'm going to hire you. And I'm going to say, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, I'm going to be putting in my notice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be doing. And so I worked both jobs for a little while. So we opened the tap room 21st of September 2013. And I worked every Saturday just about for like 10 months and kept my office job, and I had to keep it a secret for them because they're like really weirdly paranoid being in network security and stuff. And then one day Carl's like, game on, pal, quit your job. And I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm quitting this job.
I feel like I remember how soul-crushing that job was for you.
Oh, I was a beaten man. Yeah.
There's a little elephant in the room. You went to seminary?
Oh,
I
well,
mean, that's...
okay, Justin, we just met.
Yeah.
So,
Just assume Isaiah's probably done it.
Okay. I was going to say, no offense, but you do not look like you would be a
seminarian.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
That just caught me off guard.
And every time I talk to people, who don't expect that of me, it's like I don't know if it's actual schadenfreude, but like I take a perverse sense of pleasure in watching them like have their cognitive dissonance. You don't look like the kind of guy who like wrote a paper on Leviticus. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
When I was working both jobs, the IT job and the brewery, I was still in school, and it was a lot. And so for the next semester, I deferred. I'm like, I got to take a break from something, and these two things make me money. And so when I was full time at the Abbey, I was like, well, I'll have time to finish my last class. I had one class left, and they said, oh, we're not offering it this semester. You got to wait until next semester. And I said, okay. And then the next semester comes around, and right before enrollment, they send out an email to everybody saying, hey, we've been absorbed by this other school in St. Louis, and I lost all my credits.
Oh,
No
no.
I
way.
mean, what was I going to do with it anyway?
Yeah.
What, become a pastor? Like, somebody should follow my example?
Youth pastor,
Yeah.
man. You look like a
I was a youth pastor for like 8
Oh, yeah,
years.
you were.
Yeah.
oh, shit.
But you don't have
Okay.
a soul patch.
Well, he was a youth pastor. So that's...
So, are you guys regretting having invited us on the show yet?
Oh,
No.
no, not yet. It'll
This
be...
has been-
Give
this
us
has
about
been
10
a-
more minutes, and then...
I'm only halfway through this beer,
And
so
then
give
you're
us some time.
already-
There's more water. There's more beer over there, and
Yeah.
bread if you want some.
This may be one of the most entertaining conversations we've had. I love it.
Yeah, usually when Carl and I have a guest on the show, we make them sit in between us just so we
Yeah.
can watch their head swivel like they're watching a ping pong match or something.
It's very much the way that goes.
Carl, what was it like raising kids whenever you get in the brewery off the ground?
It's so
Have to have at least one dad-related question.
Yeah.
So,
So my wife reminded me of this story just recently while we were on our little college trip. So before we opened, I was brewing a lot at home, and the rules in Davidson County regarding homebrew were a little more lenient. And so homebrewers were allowed to pour their beer at beer festivals, which is now not the case. The reason that it's not the case is because the other breweries and the distributors were like, who are these homebrew jackasses who are coming in here and pouring beer? Like, we need to 86 that. So there was some work done behind the scenes where the beer board in Nashville now prohibits that, or did for a while. It's now sort of unclear. But at the time, it was totally acceptable. So we were a brewery in planning, and so we had brewed a bunch of beer, and we had signed up to pour beer at what was at the time and debatably still is sort of the area's biggest and best beer festival, which is 12 South Winter Warmer.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're getting ready to go to Winter Warmer, and we've made all this beer, and there's three of us, me and Mike and John. And most of the beer that we were taking to this event was at my house, but John had the biggest vehicle. He had a Suburban. So Mike and John came to the house in their Suburban. We're loading our corny kegs and our jockey box and all this stuff in the back of the car. And we get ready to go. And I come inside, and Sally, my wife, is sitting on the floor in the bathroom with Maggie, who is vomiting profusely. And I said, all right, I'm going to the beer festival. I guess I'll see you in 6 hours later when I get dropped off here because I won't be able to drive.
Did she look at you with a look that made it clear that she was trying to hate you to death?
11 years later, it is still right there.
I bet.
Still right there. But so let's just say it hasn't had its. There hasn't been a lack of challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been plenty.
It was kind of great watching like a 5 or 6 year old Will pushing a broom across the floor though when we opened.
I mean, it's been interesting, I think, for the kids to grow up in not just in a brewery, but in a small business overall, because there's a lot of stuff that happens, and I think about that a lot, like especially now as Maggie's getting ready to go to college. Like, when she spreads her own wings and goes to gets her own job, like, what will I say to her? What would I say to her if she says, I want to start my own business, right? Regardless of what that business is. Because I think she's had a pretty clear picture of what that means as an individual, right?
Yeah.
And what the amount of time it takes, the absolute lack of money maybe that comes out of it. There's, I mean, the stress that goes along with it, the work that goes into it. Like, I think they've never known anything different. And I just I don't think that they look at it through rose-colored glasses.
No.
I really think that they think, well, I don't know, like, dad works a lot, or, you know, dad's at the brewery a lot, or, you know, I think that it's interesting. I would say that it has been very challenging raising 3 kids from infancy through now teenager.
Yeah.
During the span of also starting a very labor intensive job. And so I think I think raising kids in the midst of trying to get a business off the ground and make a business sustainable and profitable over time has been wildly difficult.
Yeah.
And honestly, my wife also full-time job, and she's like, we had an event at the tap room one time. She works for this company called DaVita. And
DaVita Dialysis.
Big dialysis company.
Oh yeah, we all know about dialysis.
We
Yeah.
get none of your music references.
We do a
And so they're based.
we do the landscape for one of them
the one down in Maryland Farms.
in Murfreesboro.
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so she works in Maryland Farms, which is like their tech office, but the big corporate HQ is in Denver, and so they had, you know, something in Brentwood where all these people came in from all over the place, including like her boss's 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 boss or whatever, some bigwig, and they came. So she brought them all to the tap room, and this bigwig guy did not bring his ID.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Welcome to Tennessee.
And so the bartender said, as it's our policy,
Yeah.
because it's the law,
Yeah.
let me see your ID. I don't have it. Okay, well, I can get you a Coke or a water or anything that doesn't have alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And Sally said, that guy's our insurance. I said, don't care.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
still Tennessee law.
I
Welcome.
can't.
We're a dram shop state.
I'm like, and so it's interesting, right? Because the credit that belongs to her is immense for not just putting up with the hijinks of somebody who lives and works and is trying to start a business in the alcoholic beverage industry, but doing all of that while working the full-time job that pays the bills and provides the insurance and all of the other parts that go along with that.
Yeah.
Like that, honestly, in a lot of ways has been the most difficult part of the whole thing, is trying to figure out how to balance the intense amount of work that needs to go into starting this thing with, okay, well, I also have to be very respectful of the fact that none of this happens without the role that she does.
Yeah.
And that means that sometimes I've got to table some of the stuff that my job requires in order to chip into something that the family needs.
Yeah.
And I mean, gosh, we had this stupid experience here where my car died 2 days after my mother-in-law died, which was really frustrating. So she passed away, and then
God, what a summer.
it was really nuts. We were getting ready to go to New York for the funeral, and I was working in the tap room, and I got in my car and went to drive, and the transmission dropped. So I had to and so come back, and that was like, all right, well, now we need to get a new car. And guess what? If you remember, in August of 2022, you could not get a new car. And so we decided what we wanted to get. And, those are assembled in Japan, and so you have to wait. And so we waited until December 29th. Or something.
It was late.
So I was driving the brewery van, which
How's the air conditioning in that?
it doesn't work.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah. The vent
AC?
speed might be coldish.
Yeah.
That's the best you can hope for.
I mean, it's got a hand crank window.
Oh, okay.
There you
You
go.
can crank
That's
those
good.
down.
It's very retro.
It's something.
Oh, it's retro.
It's third show. We'll talk about just the Black Abbey van.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
But like I'm picking kids up from school and that thing.
Yeah.
Like I pull up my kids. I'll go to Valor, which is a charter school over on Nolensville Road. And so I'm pulling into the parking lot, and my 15-year-old, somebody gets in the car. He's like, I told Johnny that we'd take him to soccer practice. And I'm like, this thing's only got 2 seats now. Where am I going to put Johnny?
Did you strap him to the side?
I just told him to get in the back. I was like, get in the back. Get in the back. And I said, get in the back. Lay down.
Yeah.
Lay
Yeah.
down. Yes, sir. Lay down. No one sees you. Lay down.
Yeah.
And so he laid
can't
on
let
the
the cops
floor
get
in
wise.
the back of this 10-foot cargo van. There was nothing back there, but it was like, well, whatever. Lay down, pal.
Growing up,
Don't tell your mom.
Exactly.
my dad worked for Pepsi growing up, so he'd get he would go to grocery stores and set up displays and stuff. So he would have a car that was big enough to do that, and we'd have to ride in it sometimes. And we'd lay in the back of it. And if he saw another Pepsi-related vehicle coming, he'd be like, "Everyone, lay down now." And no one if it was a police car or someone had Pepsi branding on it, we all had to lay down. So you get used to just laying very flat and not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked my Maggie and Will for a short period of time went to the Covenant School, which is I don't know if you've
Green
heard of this
Hills?
church. It's called,
Is it a Presbyterian
it's a
school?
Presbyterian church.
But they
Are you
didn't have to
familiar?
put it in the name?
No, they totally
That's
didn't.
crazy.
What a concept!
Man, it seems like Dr. Mark would have gotten the word out.
So maybe.
Dr. Mark must not work there.
No.
But so I pull up there. They had aftercare that ended at 5:30. So I come rolling up there in the brewery van one day. It's 5:29, picking the 2 of them up, and we were doing self-distribution at the time. So I was driving the van full of empty kegs. Right,
Yeah.
I'd done my deliveries, but I'd picked up the shells, and they were all in the back. And so we roll up there. The poor lady. I'm like, all right, kids, get in the back. And so they get in the back of the van, and I ratchet strapped them to the side of the van.
Yeah, he did. And you thought it was a joke earlier, but that was a reference.
Oh,
And
my
this
gosh.
lady, this poor lady was looking at me, and I'm like, this is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine.
It's fine.
They're mine.
You saw nothing.
Yeah. And she was just like,
Wide-eyed,
I'm
shrugging.
doing the shrug emoji for
Yeah.
those of you
Yeah, yeah.
listening at home. Yeah, that was something.
That's
Yeah.
a great story.
I had to borrow the brewery van when my car was in the shop for a minute and figured out a way to get the car seat attached to the front in a way that was pretty secure. But I got an old look. I got a look from one of the older ladies at the school too, just like,
This isn't the best
this is
option, right?
I'm like, well, it's either that or you keep her.
Yeah.
And that's your option.
It is what it is, lady.
Yep.
Cece loved it. She was like, I'm up front. I'm like, yeah, you're up front. She's like, why do I feel wind? I'm like, that's the air conditioning. You can feel it directly now. And she was thrilled.
Best moment of her life.
Yeah. She's like, can we listen to my music? I said, no, it only has a radio.
Yes. AM.
Oh, that's brutal.
Man, this is a good show. Have we taken it over enough, you guys?
Let's see. Have they?
No, this is great.
Yeah. Mostly, I feel like Justin just sits there. He's like, "This is really." Justin's
I
just
love it, man.
excited to be here. At all times. So he's a very new dad.
Yeah.
How new are we talking?
18 months.
yeah.
Oh, you're in baby
Yeah.
jail.
Yeah.
I mean, we might still not remember this conversation the next time we see each other.
Yeah. My oldest is she's got her Red Cross CPR certification and is a very reasonably priced babysitter.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
She is
then-
reasonably priced, I can confirm.
Okay. We've used 2 babysitters through I think it's called Bouncy or it's some type of app. But if we know somebody that actually is willing to do it, yeah, give me your information.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is mostly how episodes go. Just kind of
Yeah.
hang out, talk for a while. Hopefully, some of it makes sense.
Yeah. But no, I think that in the beer industry, margins in beer are low. And,
Yeah.
and
Especially in this state.
the amount of work is high. Tennessee is has the highest wholesale tax on beer in the United States, and it's not even close. If you were to cut the wholesale tax in half in Tennessee, we'd still be number 5.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What makes you?
Yeah.
What makes you do it? What makes you want to keep doing it?
It's a great question. I think
It's a great question.
yeah,
Your wife. Your wife has been asking it for years.
yeah. Part of it is cultural. I think the group of people that does what we do is very tight knit. Sam Calgione from formerly Dogfish Head, now he works for some division of Boston Beer who bought Dogfish Head, said that the beer industry is 99% asshole free. And I really do find that to be true.
Yeah. There's not a lot of duds.
Yeah. The people who commit to doing this are genuine, honest, hardworking, friendly, nice people. And that really means a lot.
Yeah.
Before I did this, I worked for Glenlevin, and they were genuinely delightful people. But before that, I worked at a bank, and, you know, bankers are salespeople that sell money, and they're extremely competitive, but it is very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And, you know, the beer industry is competitive too, but we're all on the same ship, right? Even the folks that are selling the big brands, that are selling Miller and Coors and Molson and Guinness and like the big guys, like we're all still doing the same thing. And I think that really means a lot. And that for me is a big reason why I think that it's important for us to be here. But I think also that the idea of creativity in this sphere is also really important, because you lose that and we're back to where we were in the post-prohibition era, where there was like 6 breweries in the country and everybody was being sort of homogenized, like, well, this is just what it is. You can only have this.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really important for creativity to exist in that realm. I think there's a very popular and honestly, from a quality standpoint, excellent brewery that's making non-alcoholic beer right now called Athletic.
Oh, it is good though.
And the juice is really, really good.
What is it
And
called again?
It's called Athletic. But they were just acquired by Dr. Pepper Keurig.
Yeah, like Keurig, like cups.
So first off, when did Dr. Pepper and Keurig get together?
About 6
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
I think.
Madness.
Yeah.
But that level of giant conglomeration, I think, will eventually limit creativity, right?
Yeah.
Like this, and I don't know anything about Athletic except that we buy it and sell it in our tap room because I feel like it's a high quality product that people like. And I think that it's also very appropriate and responsible for us to provide a non-alcoholic option for people that want to drink something that's not alcoholic.
Yeah.
And that's not Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
which you could use to get to pour on your battery terminals in your car, right?
Or to clean
It's
up
it's a meat tenderizer.
or
It's
to clean up the
horrible
blood
for you.
spill on the crime scene.
yes, like it's
a little too much experience knowledge
Yeah.
there, Isaiah.
Yeah.
you
I've lived a life, man.
peeling back the onion. But I mean,
Yeah.
this is a long way around to answer your question, but I think that the space for small independent business to create interesting and fun and unique things is there and should be supported.
I also think that one of the motivators for what we do is because of the community that we've been able to build. You know, like the people that were brought in to the Black Abbey sphere because you and John and Mike had the constitution to do it, could not have been created otherwise under different circumstances. It's just like, this is the weirdest group of people that are fans of our product.
Yeah, I mean,
you got church guys coming in to have like their deacon board meetings.
Dude, that was my church at
Was
one
it
point.
really?
Yeah. Flat Rock.
Right now.
Ryan,
No kidding.
Ryan Hudson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's and Jay Hager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Close friends with all those guys.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And then they're right next to all the people that I know are absolutely talking Marxist politics. And then there's my wife sitting over at that table knitting a scarf.
Yeah.
It's just like there was a biker gang that used to hang out at the tap room for a while.
Pony Boy.
They'd sit next to the table of like guys that worked at the Nashville or the National Guard Armory.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, you guys just drinking next to each other, huh? Who
It's
knows?
pretty cool, though.
It's kind of
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
we
kinda
partnered
beautiful.
with the Downtown Presbyterian Church to do these events called Beer and Hymns,
Oh,
where
yeah.
people get together to do a hymn sing. You know, they're singing songs that are like 125 years and older, drinking their faces off. You know, just like getting real loud, like pushing every fiber in their diaphragm to sing "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God." And like, how did we Like, in the words of David Byrne, how did I get here?
Yeah. I think that a lot. I think I would venture to say that most small business people probably have that exact same feeling.
Yeah.
Like, how did I end up here? How did this happen? But in the hospitality industry, I think it's probably more. You know, if somebody says, I'm going to start making silicone chips for this computer, maybe that experience is not quite the same as somebody who operates in the hospitality sphere. And like whenever somebody says to me, like, I'm going to start a restaurant, I'm going to start a bar, I want to open a brewery, I'm going to wonder what your advice is. Like the hospitality space, once the regulars start coming, the identity of the space shifts or changes.
100%.
Oh, sure.
Your identity is defined by your regulars.
Yeah.
And honestly, like we have been very fortunate to open where we did because we're so close to a lot of interesting, cool residential neighborhoods between Woodbine and Creve Hall and Oak Hill. Like there's just, and it's there's a lot of diversity. I read a story about Morgan Wallen today. Well, was about the music industry and how Morgan Wallen is a part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy, not the record that just came out, but the one that came out before that's called Dangerous Something, the double album, it had 30 songs on it.
That's too many.
Yeah.
Wow.
It used to be. The reason it's so, and it's been on top of the Billboard Hot 100. It's about to be on the Hot 100 for the longest amount of time of any album ever. Right.
That's upsetting to me.
Any album ever. I think in the top 10 because it's so many songs.
Yeah.
And it's the way they're capturing this data now is about streams.
Yeah.
And so when there's 30 songs on the thing, well, you're getting a lot more streams because people are streaming whichever different songs. So the most recent record has 36 songs.
Has a ton of
Well,
songs
he's
on
got a long ways to go before he can topple that Magnetic Fields record, 69
Nope.
love songs.
Nope, I don't get that one. I didn't listen to Magnetic Fields that much.
Well, you should start now.
There's like 69 songs I can listen to on one album.
So I found it to be very
Yes.
interesting that the way the industry is changing, and Morgan Wallen's most recent track, whatever it is now not only charting on country, but it's also charting on pop.
Yeah.
So he's now started his
That's
crossover
fascinating.
like T-Sway did.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's
Who's
really
T-Sway?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay.
Teenagers. I got teenagers.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know that lingo.
He
I'm
has no
sorry.
shorthand. Just no.
Yep.
I'm
His
38 years old, and my daughter is 18 months. I don't.
It's okay, man. Stick with us. You'll keep your finger on the pulse of American youth.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's the way that the music industry is changing, and the way that data is collected, and the way that sales are done, and the way that money is made. It's all changing, or has changed very, very quickly. I've got a buddy of mine that has a pop-up record store where he sells vinyl records. His name is Justin, and his company is called The Heart of
Great
Vinyl.
name.
Yeah, I've bought a David Bowie
Solid
album or two
name.
from him.
Yes, cool dude.
Yeah.
And so he brings records to the tap room every so often. I kind of keep in touch with him. And he posted something on Instagram yesterday. It was a sticker that was on one of the bins that he brings in, and it just said, "Vinyl is killing the MP3 industry."
That's awesome.
I'm like, man, I
Wow.
love that. But it's true. Like, it's changing so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about how quickly the CD killed tapes and records, and how quickly then MP3s killed the CD, and now vinyl is outselling MP3 because nobody's buying music anymore.
No.
They're renting it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a fascinating swing in how things are done.
Yeah, and nobody is listening to full records anymore.
No, it's all about track.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is. Watch this.
What?
I bring it right back.
Okay.
It's just the same as in the beer industry. It's just the same. Nobody cares about anything. It's all a one-shot deal. Like the loyalty, there's nobody who's like, you know what, I'm committed to Crest toothpaste. That's all I use.
Oh, sure.
Right? That the guys that only drank Budweiser are aging out.
Yeah.
Right? They're fading out just like Willie Nelson.
There's no one getting tattoos of
killing it. I'm bringing it all back around. I'm killing it.
There's nobody getting tattoos of Procter and Gamble paper towels.
Oh, I meant to tell you.
That's all I use. That's where my dad worked. So I am a Crest
Very
guy.
specific brand loyalty purpose. Like,
Right? The guys that were so invested in that. Like everything is so transactional now, whether it's in music or whether it's in beer, or I think in alcohol in general. Like I don't think there's the guys who are like, I only drink Dewar's White Label. You know, those guys are long gone, or they're on their way out. Right? It's everybody now is like, what's the latest, greatest? I'm interested in something new, and that's a hard space to be in if you're an artist who's performing music, or if you're an artist that's creating beer. Right? Like, you want to create what you create, and you want it to have a flagship brand, and you want to have identity and focus on these things. But that may not be the way that the consumer is consuming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they don't have the attention span for it.
That sounds exhausting, though.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
everything's in flux all the time.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was obvious by my demeanor, but yes, it's very exhausting.
Because you guys do a lot of like special runs, don't you? I feel like you do, like you'll brew with this person and that person, and then you'll have like a special event at the brewery where you release it.
Yeah, we do a lot of small batch and collaboration stuff.
We try, and I think that
we want to have fun.
Yes, we do less than some and more than others.
Sure.
There are some breweries who their whole model is brand new beer every week, every 2 weeks. Like, I got a brand new thing that's coming out all the time. And you want to talk about exhausting. That has to be really exhausting.
Stressful too. Jesus.
Yeah. And then there are some, like in most of these, when I say there's some, I'm talking about like old school European brands like Orval. You know, like Orval is one of the 16 Trappist monastery breweries in the world. You know how many beers Orval has? How many styles?
3?
1.
Oh my gosh.
Just
beer. One.
They do their one thing, and that's all they do.
That's all they've done for centuries.
Yeah. And then Duvel, they've only got a handful.
2 or 3.
Like Rochefort, I think, has 3. You know, like there's the old school Euro breweries. They just do the 1 or 2 things that are their things. That is not how the American craft beer scene has developed or grown.
Yeah.
It's been, what have you done for me lately? We've got this guy that we work with, Eric Finch, who he's a beer rep for hire, I guess is the best way to describe the company that he has started. And he says this all the time. Anybody can sell 1 keg of anything. Anybody. You can sell 1 keg of anything. What really defines what your success or failure is the rebuy. If I can get 1 person to buy this keg, great. If I can get them to buy a second, I have succeeded. And he's not wrong. You know, you can make a batch of beer that has 10, 20, 30, 40 kegs. And when those kegs are gone, you move on to something else. If you brew something where you are making 10, 20, 30, 40 kegs, and then you repeat it, and then you repeat it, and then you repeat it, that is the definition of success, I think, in the current craft brew market. Like, you have to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think that we were lucky enough to get started at a time when we didn't have as much competition, nearly as much competition.
Yep.
And so our flagship brand, the Rose Belgian Blonde, had a lot of space to move out throughout the city, to the point now where I'll be sitting at a bar drinking incognito, and I'll hear somebody say, "Can I try this weird thing out?" And then they try it and they go, "Ugh, can I just get a rose? I know that one's going to be good." And
that's awesome,
man.
What do you ever think you'll revive your blog?
I feel like the blog was more for me to survive than it was for the people who were reading it, because I don't really know who was.
Yeah.
But
it's just the journaling.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it was nice to like be forced to do something like, okay, well, it's Tuesday, I've got to finish this.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was nice because like just like my songwriting, it's just helping me to process complicated feelings and emotions. And Don't Panic Dad was interesting because I do have complex PTSD and anxiety disorder, and yet I never felt panicked about my daughter. The whole pregnancy and birth process and raising this kid, I didn't find myself going, what the fuck is going to happen? What am I supposed to do? I just felt very comfortable and natural in being a father, and just like, yeah, I got this. And I had friends telling me, you've got second kid confidence.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I can't explain why. Maybe it's because my daughter is number 12 of the cousins, and I had a lot of practice, but I honestly think that it's because I really am only anxious about my own shit.
Yeah.
It's more like my anxious attachment based on being the child of a emotionally immature parent. I get anxious about my place in the world and how I fit in and how I'm perceived, but I was never worried about my daughter and how she was going to fit in and how she was going to be perceived, especially by me and my wife. I was like, this kid is going to be as secure as possible. And so I thought it was really interesting. Like, I should be freaking the fuck out because I freak out about so many things. But when it came to this kid, I was like, I'm going to feed you. I'm going to
I got you.
I had to syringe feed her for like the first 6 weeks of her life because Chell got mastitis and like pumping was painful. And so she wasn't nursing. And I was just like syringe feeding her. I'm like, it's cool. We'll just like, I'll wake up every 45 minutes. We'll watch The Mighty Boosh. I don't know, man. I'll just syringe feed you while we watch the Old Greg episode.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Old Greg.
Pretty much.
You ever drink Bailey's from a shoe?
I'm old Greg.
You ever drink breast milk from a shoe?
Yeah, while I'm pumping breast milk into her mouth.
You ever gone to a bar where people wee on each other?
I really do think, though, I think a lot of people talk about how when a lady delivers a baby that something like synaptically occurs within their brain about you're built to give birth and nurse a child.
Yeah.
But I think something also happens within synaptic wise for the dad.
Totally.
It absolutely did.
I
for
felt
me.
it. Yeah.
And
I felt it happen in real time.
I had a dream. All right, this is really weird.
Okay.
I had a dream when my wife was pregnant with Maggie, our oldest, with this lady. Her name was Barbara. Just this lady went to church with, this elderly lady. And she was friends with a couple other people. I knew her sort of vaguely passing in the hall at church. And this dream where I was standing at a changing table with a screaming child with no pants.
Mm-hmm.
The child, not me.
That would be.
And
It is a dream. This is dream logic now.
and I didn't know what to do. And Barbara, out of nowhere, shows up and says, "Move, let me show you how to do this." And put a diaper on this baby. That's how I learned to change diapers.
In a dream.
In a dream.
Really?
Seriously?
Yes, this 100%
That is
happened.
ridiculous.
It's so weird, right? And I think, and I remember, we thought for sure we were having a boy.
Yeah.
We were sure confident it was a boy
Yeah, because we know for reasons.
because we know.
Yeah.
And the doctor says,
What are you craving?
yeah.
That's how science works.
Yeah.
So the doctor says, "Where'd she get the red hair?" And then we were like, "She?" Like, no idea.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to do. And so the
It's a
nurse-
recessive gene.
Yeah. The nurse like wrapped the baby up and handed her to me. And I, truth, had never held a baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
before then?
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
Never. I never worked in the nursery.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
I don't know.
Okay.
Uh,
These are really tough questions.
You
I'm
were in
sorry.
your
17.
30s.
I'm
right?
51 and she's 17.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
can't math.
yeah, it was their early 30s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One hand.
Here you go.
Yep. Never look back.
That's
I can
awesome.
swaddle a baby like nobody's business.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to Dream Barbara.
Thanks to Dream Barbara. Right. But I really do think that something synaptically
totally.
happens in your brain. And,
Yeah.
that's your baby.
I caught my child when she was born.
Oh, yeah, because you did home birth, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
He did the baseball birth.
Out.
I was the umpire. there was plenty of people who were like, "Are you freaking out?" I'm like, I'm not freaking out. Like, it's going to be messy. It'll be loud. It'll be chaos. But if you know that going in, like, who's surprised?
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like being like, well, I really want to turn this little starter home into something really magical, and so I'm going to have to do some renovations, and you're going to be mad that there's dust. No, come on.
Yeah,
like,
it comes with it.
Yeah, this is just a part of like the journey. Okay, so it's fine. And I never got grossed out by any of it, man. I changed my child's diapers 3 times as much as my wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no puke, there was no diarrhea, there was no wet sheets that made me go, ugh, I hate this. I was like, this is fine.
Yeah, that was for me as well. I had never changed any diaper before. I said it's either going to be my parents or my baby. I will do it for my parents.
Yeah.
Poop, vomit, all that disgusted me. I never, like, my friends' kids, I was like, ugh. But with my baby, never fazed me.
So here's the setup for how this episode ends. We used to have a sign off in which it would be, Justin, I think I hear your daughter crying in the other room, because we would record in either his kitchen or his upstairs office, depending on if she was sleeping or not. And now we don't. So we had to think of a new one. So I've been trying to think of questions to ask every guest who comes on every time. I'm going to start baking them stuff whenever they come on. So you guys got Irish soda bread.
What a great tradition, by the way.
So I'm a snack mom. Let's just be realistic. I always have been. I'm trying to lean into this identity. So you both get a chance to answer it. So it's not just one of you. I'm not going to switch off and off. Okay. So the first question is, did you have any backup names for your kids? Like, you have your kid's name. Is there a name you almost named your kid?
Oh, well, if it was a boy, we were going to name that kid Elliot.
With 2 T's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 L's, 2 T's.
Yeah.
It's the only appropriate way.
Yeah.
Which, is not very Jewish of me. double consonants and vowels are not a thing.
But it's Elliot Smith, right? That's who it was in reference to.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Oh,
So.
okay.
Yeah,
Not-
it was
not
going
my
to be
middle name.
it was going to be Elliot Townsend.
Oh, nice. Carl?
My middle name is Elliot, 2 L's, 2 T's.
Mhm.
My mother's maiden name is Elliot, 2 L's, 2 T's.
Wow.
Honestly, it would have been intolerable if you had named your child Elliot. Everybody would have been like, "Oh, what a brown noser."
Yeah, basically.
Anyway,
Well, they already say that, I think.
early on,
Yeah.
I lobbied to name our children after Grand Ole Opry stars.
Oh, okay.
I wanted Sarah Cannon Meyer, and Sally's like, "That's a cancer center, no." I'm like, "Your grandmother's name was Sarah," and she's like, "No." I lobbied for Hank William.
Okay.
I got William. I didn't get the Hank.
Okay.
Maggie would have been William, and William would have been Elizabeth. But Betsy, the last one, if she had been a boy, she would have been Harry, which is my uncle's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is fascinating. My mother's side of the family, she had 3 brothers, 2 older and 1 younger. The younger one was named Arnold. He was junior, Arnold Elliott Jr. The older 2 were Harry and Marv, otherwise known as the Wet Bandits.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, from Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
The Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Isn't that funny?
You
Harry
got
and
a good
Marv.
movie reference.
Yeah.
Good job, Justin. All right, who's your favorite TV dad?
Okay, I'll go, but I'll complain the entire time as I don't know.
Oh, that was just you answering a question.
Man, TV dads, television dads. Now, this is a real trick question, man, because most of the time our culture loves the dumb dad,
They do.
the befuddled,
They do.
feckless father.
Yep.
Well,
Very absent-minded. Yep.
Yeah. Man, TV dads. I mean, obviously, for my generation, Danny Tanner left an indelible impression upon us, but Danny Tanner had a lot of mental illness that was not talked about. We're talking his wife died in a car accident. He's got PTSD for serious, and he's a clean freak suddenly. Okay, pal. So I don't know. I don't know if that's my favorite. I think it's possible that my favorite TV dad doesn't exist.
That's fair. That can be an answer.
Because what I hope for one day, and this show might be out there, and I just haven't found it because thanks to streaming services, there's a fuckload of content.
Pretty much.
But I want a dad who is involved and well-meaning and attentive, attuned to their partner and children, that is also not expected to be the paragon of perfection.
Yeah.
To know that this person is not only aware of their own shortcomings, but doesn't punish people for their own shortcomings. To be a very emotionally mature person, that's a hard person to write because it doesn't necessarily make for good conflict. and conflict is the source of much storytelling on television.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that person exists, man. But like, I'm not trying to be any of them. You know,
I didn't say you wanted to be any of them.
Yeah,
I
just my favorite one.
Favorite one.
No, that's fair. It's fair. I just don't have those guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Carl.
As the oldest person in the room,
Oh, by a mile.
by a mile, by 11 years.
10,
10,
11,
yeah.
11.
10 and a half.
Yeah.
I grew up watching syndicated TV. So Leave It to Beaver. We've already talked about
Yeah, we've already
Ward
discussed it. Yeah.
Ward cleavers come up.
Yep. But like formative, like live TV watching when I was a kid was The Cosby Show. Cliff Huxtable, the TV dad,
Yeah.
was everything that you described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was intelligent. He had a
Great sense of humor.
yes, and seemingly well-adjusted kids, had a brilliant, beautiful wife who had a professional career. Like that.
Yeah.
That was a TV dad that sort of shaped a reality of what maybe a dad should be in the 80s.
All right. What's your least favorite kid show or movie? Like whenever your kid is like, I want to watch this show, you're like, can I just leave the room?
I vetoed exactly one show
Okay, what
for
was
my
it?
daughter. It's this show called Horrible Harry.
What?
Yeah.
Horrible Harry.
Yeah, you've never heard
Is
of
it
it?
horrible?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, it's terrible, bud. Because this kid is the shittiest.
Yeah.
And he just loves gross out humor,
Oh,
and
sure.
he's always pulling like mean pranks. Like, this is only funny for you because you made somebody cry. Like, this isn't cool. And so I saw her watching it one day, and I was like, I don't know about this. And then the rest of that day, she was terrible.
Yeah.
And I said, you're not allowed to watch that show anymore. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, look at this. It's called parental controls. Yeah, you can watch. Listen, I'm a brony. You can watch My Little Pony all day. I'm not the dad that's like coming down on you because it doesn't fit my view of the world.
Sure,
I'm just
yeah.
saying that like if you are going to kick a dog in the face, you can't watch this show.
Oh, shit.
But there are definitely kid shows out there where like not glorifies, but like normalizes being cruel to some extent for the sake
Dude.
of humor.
Yeah,
And then you're like, oh, we're never looking. You will never watch this again.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mine's the same reason.
Was it? Yeah. What was yours?
Max and Ruby.
Max and
Oh,
Ruby.
wait, what's that?
Come on, man.
Well,
No.
that sounds like a regional chain of restaurants.
No,
It
Max
was
and
closed on
Ruby.
Tuesdays.
It's like Max and Ruby are cartoon bunnies.
Oh, okay.
And Ruby is the bitchy sister, and Max is the little brother. And Max is always getting into something where
Yeah.
it's like, I just made a mud pie with worms, and you're gonna eat it. And Ruby's like, don't eat that, Max, you stupid fuck.
Whoa.
Like, she is a mean ass bitch.
Yeah.
And I hate her. And I'm like, no, we're not watching this. This is horrible. Like, poor sweet Max is just trying to do his thing.
Just trying to be a oh.
Look at them. They're cute little bunnies.
Yeah, there's like a picture of those two people at the Nashville Public Library. There's like an original like artwork of them.
Yeah, except that Ruby's a horrible devil child, demon bunny. Poor Max is just trying to eat his warm mud
Decent
pies.
person. All right. Do you have a favorite? My favorite kid's toy is Marble Run. Like whenever my kids are
That's
like, let's
fun.
play Marble Run,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, can
fun.
I make one? And they're like, no, that's all you want to do, and you don't want to help us make our
Because
round.
we're of an age that we can remember Marble Madness.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite kid's toy? Like whenever your kid wanted to play, you'd be like, oh, this is actually fun.
This is the stupidest, man. Like, you know, there's plenty of toys, right? You got
Sure.
you got Duplo.
Yeah.
You've got like magnet tiles. You know, you got all kinds of like classic kids toys. But there's one that Cece got for her birthday this past summer. It's a game. It's the first time that she's had a game that she understood enough that like she knows the rules forwards and backwards, and she wants to play this game with everybody. It's called Pop the Pig. But this game is like there's a pig who's dressed as a chef, you know, and you belt the chef's coat over his
Yeah.
tummy. And then there's like a series of like multicolored hamburgers all over the table, and you roll the dice to see what color hamburger you got to pick up. And when you pick up the burger and look at the bottom, there's a number on the bottom of that hamburger, and you got to shove it in that pig's maw. You got to shove it in there and then push on top of the chef's hat on top of this pig the number of times that correlates
that's-
to the number on the bottom of that burger, and it puffs out the pig's tummy.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's sort of like are you going to be the one to pop the pig?
Yeah.
Because when the chef coat opens and his hands throw up, like that's when you've popped the pig. What I love about this is that one, she knows all the rules, and so she's into it, and she is the one that's like, no, you did that wrong.
Yeah.
Like she'll be the one to correct you, and this is the only time this has happened yet. But my favorite part is that it doesn't matter if she wins or loses.
Oh.
That the moment the pig pops, she is throwing a party. She's like, yes! Yeah!
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so it's so much fun, man. Because like, even if she loses, she's
here for it.
high-fiving. She's like, "We popped that."
She thinks the point of the game is to pop the pig.
So that is my favorite.
Okay, cool.
Because
Sweet.
she's
That's cute.
having
That's really cute.
fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Carl.
We sometimes play this game that belonged to me when I was a kid called Stratego.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, classic.
You know, classic Hasbro board game. And each one of the, you know, it depicts a battlefield, and some of the pieces, each one has a different character, and some of them are, it's like dumbed down chess. Like you got a spy, and you got a general, and you got a, you know, the guy that diffuses the bombs, and then you have some bombs, and you just move your people and you touch them up against the other pieces, and then you capture the pieces, and the person who captures the flag basically is the one who wins. And you can surround your flag with bombs, and you know I really like it because I remember playing it when I was a kid, and my parents gave it to me, and it's like the OG Stratego. What actually made me really happy about it was when the kids were like, "This game is so dumb."
No.
I'm like, "You have arrived."
Yeah, you understand what the game is about.
Yeah, that was really fun. Stratego.
That's cool. All right, here's the last question. Trying to end on somewhat sentimental. What moment of your kid's life are you most excited to be a part of?
Like in the future or in the past?
Either. You can go nostalgic. You can go forward seeing.
Okay. It was Valentine's Day last year. And like my daughter and I have a nice relationship. We enjoy each other's company. We talk a lot. I've never spoken to her in baby talk ever.
Oh, yeah.
I use all the big words. When she asks me questions, I've like purposed in my heart to never lie to my child. So when she's like, "Why is the sky blue?" and I talk to her about like sunlight and how it gets distributed through the atmosphere in such a way that these are the light waves that show blue because they're the shortest and they move the furthest. Like, yeah, and she'll look at me just mystified. Like, what are you saying? I'm like, that's the truth though. That's
you
the right
asked a
answer.
question.
It's not because God saw the color of your eyes, you know. You know, it's not like that. So we have this like nice relationship, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah.
And there was one morning, and it was Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day of last year, where I mean, it was just an absolute battle. It was like, put your fucking shoes on right now. We have to leave. We have to leave right now. And it was every distraction and inconvenience possible coming up. You know, the dog's yakking on the floor. I got to clean that up now. Like, it was that kind of morning. And I'm in the car, and I literally turned around and said, "You're not allowed to speak this entire car ride. And if you do, I will just turn the music up louder." Like, it was just like,
yeah.
I was DUN done. And we get to school, and I get her checked in, and I finally peel her off of my body and hand her to her teacher. And her teacher like sets her in the classroom, and I'm about to peace out. And her teacher grabs my sleeve and says, "Hold on a second. Wait, look at this." And she had put up a poster board for Valentine's Day where she asked everyone in the classroom, "What is love?" And the kids were saying things like hearts, hugs,
The color red.
kisses. Yeah, the color red, that's love. And then it gets down to Seattle's name. And her definition of love was playing with my dad.
Oh.
Man. I was like, oh, today of all days. So that night, I get home, and she's like, "Do you want to play hide and seek?" And I'm like, "You're so bad at it." But yes, because now I know that is how you connect with me.
Yeah.
we've got to play some shitty hide and seek.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think about that all the time, man. Like the way that we connect to our children is so far outside of our control because we're not aware of how they're perceiving our relationship.
Yep.
And so the moment that she expressed that to somebody who was basically a stranger, to say, this is how I know that I am loved. I'm like, I've got to like put time and effort into that, because even if I'm not having a good time, it matters so much to this person that they're telling strangers.
Yeah.
That was a really special moment
That's really
between
sweet.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. Carl, I know you have 3 kids.
I do.
I don't know how you want to answer it, but is there like anything for all 3 of your kids or anything like that of like just moment of being a dad where like, oh man, this is going to be really special to experience or that you've already experienced?
I'm all about the long play.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. And this is maybe the longest play book in my playbook. And I'm going to tell you this because I know that the kids are not going to listen to this show. Nobody knows this.
No. Okay.
This is there are, I think, maybe 2 other people in the world that know this right now, and
Well,
none of them are in this room.
I love mischief, so your secret's safe with me.
So, all right, those of you listening at home,
Yes.
Don't you dare write into Carl's kids on TikTok.
you got to keep it. You got to hold on to this one. You got to hold it because this is a true story.
Okay.
When Betsy was in preschool, she had a reputation for never taking a nap. So they would put her little nap spot next to the teacher desk because they had to keep an eye on her because she was always up to no good and she wasn't a napper. And so one day the teacher was at lunch. I don't know what the deal was, but they brought this other lady in who worked in the church nursery and who was not a normal employee of the daycare. She was just an absolute scab, right? She was just she was a
Sit
sub.
here, make sure no kids die. Call me if they do.
Yes. So while this lady is in charge, Betsy somehow finds underneath the desk some beads and decides that a great idea is to put the beads in her nose hole.
Oh, yeah. Do you have to irrigate them out?
So they called.
Uh-huh.
Miss Rachel called me. She said, Betsy has stuffed a bead up her nose. And I said, all right. And she said, we can't get it out. I said, okay, did you plug the other nose hole and have her blow? And I said, yes, but the bead has a hole in it. So it's not coming out.
Not getting the air pressure we need.
Yeah. So I called the doctor and I was like, look, she stuffed a bead up her nose. And they're like, yeah, bring her in. We'll get it out.
Oh, we get 3 of these a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go and I pick her up and I'm like, is there a bead in your nose? Yes. Don't put your finger in your nose. Okay. Like, don't shove the bead into your brain. I won't. Okay. So we go to the doctor and our normal doctor is like, he's like no nonsense, no BS, straight ahead. Like, so the guy, his name is Klinsky. Dr. Klinsky is there. Klinsky's like, all right, we're going to get this taken care of. And he's got some kind of contraption and he gets the thing out of her nose. And all in all, this took the grand scope of 2 hours, but I was so infuriated, right? Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe they called me. I've got stuff to do. So they gave it to me and they put it in a little plastic bag, the bead. And they said, you should probably keep this. And so I put it in my pocket. And I took her back to school. I'm like, beads out, we're good. And then later on that night, whenever I'm getting home, I'm changing my clothes. I find the thing in my pocket. I take it out. And I was like, all right. And one of the teachers at Glen Levin, Miss Julie, makes her own jewelry. So I brought the bag with the bead and I gave it to Julie. And I said, could you make this into a necklace? And she said, yes. And she did. And I'm holding it.
That is awesome.
She was 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang that fucking thing around her neck at her wedding.
Oh,
that
man.
is fantastic.
I am going to do it. I'm gonna
Man.
clip it. I'm gonna if she's wearing jewelry, I'm gonna take it off. I'm going
That
to put
is
that thing on.
hilarious.
You've never looked more
You know,
beautiful.
there's never been more meaning behind the term statement necklace, I think, maybe ever.
Oh man, that is the long game.
Something borrowed and something blew out of your nose.
Well, at least you tried to blow it out of your nose.
That's true, but it did. Well, Isaiah, Carl, we'll see what this turns into whenever I edit it. But thank you.
Yes,
thank
for
you,
being on the
guys.
Nashville Dads.
Man, thanks for letting us take over your table.
This is Nashville Dad _.
It's
exclamation
actually
point.
the S is a $sign.
Yep.
The N is, I forget what all we came up with. You guys always say friend of the show. Can we now call you friend of the show?
Yeah, of
For
course.
everything we do.
I mean, personally, you and I have known each other for
For
like
like over a
11
decade.
years.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So, but
Glad
guys,
to be a friend of the show.
thank you. Friend
Yeah.
of the show. Friend of the show. Friends of the show. There's a lot of iterations. But thank you so much for being on.
Yeah,
I really
thanks.
appreciate it.
Great conversation.
Talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Peace out.
I think I hear your daughter crying.
Oh.
We really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Nashville Dads. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.